Hello everyone, this is CounterYolo bringing you another video in Star Trek Online. And today's video, just going to be really short in this one. I'm going to talk about what I feel are the best Star Trek Online influencers, or the people that really help to shape a lot of the conversation and the landscape that many of us are in for this MMO in general. These two general parts is going to be my favorite influencers from a couple of different sources. And then just a basic slide towards the end talked about the two big gaps that if you're somebody who wants to become an influencer, the two big gaps that I feel are the most underserved in the community right now. So that, hey, if you wanted a very easy way to get into the community and to become the ones people that people talk about, those are the ones that you could easily do that. So those two basic links will be in the description, along with links to a lot of these influencers in the description as well. For those that are wondering why this video is a super short one, feel free to go to the community tab over on the channel and read through my posts that I've listed there. Um, the current circumstances around the world is affecting me personally, and I'm doing what I can to help the situation in my professional life, in my job. So feel free to read that and how it is going to be affecting the channel going forward. There could be a bit of gaps in terms of videos on the channel as a result of what's going on. So just go ahead and read through that, and feel free to leave a comment there if you want to, or you can leave a comment here below this video too. Yeah, when it comes to the influencers, there are a lot of them on Reddit. There are a lot of really good ones. There's also a lot of really bad ones on Reddit too. These are the three people that over time I have come to trust them most when it comes to game knowledge. Basically, if any of these three people basically tell you your build sucks, change it in X, Y, and Z way, you can pretty much trust them in that they're not trying to screw you over. If they're saying, yes, that console sucks, use this console instead, just go with it. Forrest has been in the community for a pretty long time. Sizer has been as well, but is a little bit less active versus in years past. I mean, people that have been in this game for a super long time have been in it since the game launched 10 years ago. A lot of them, were in college and now they're not. And they have families and have other responsibilities and legitimately can't put as much time to this game as they could have 10 years ago, which is completely understandable. Now Jet, known as Spartan in years past, was so good at the game that Cryptic hired Jet to help design their ships. So Jet from time to time will jet in and actually explain a mechanic of something that changed or something that they did to make things better. I believe Jet also was part of the season 13 changes in terms of how weapon things change and such inside the game. For better or for worse, there's things that have changed that Jet has been heavily involved with. Now, when it comes to calculations, JE has been one of the people that, when I've looked historically for years and years past of how things worked, JE always comes up. Like, always seems to come up. Like, for instance, my video on exceeding 75% resistance, pretty much a lot of it came from JE's posts and me just digesting them and putting them in PowerPoint format. Okay, I do reference a lot of posts in there in those videos. JE stuff is in there, or is referenced in those posts that I reference in there. Most recently, stuff that JE also likes, and therefore I trust, Tiller and EPH289 have done a lot of recent work on some stuff in terms of how torpedoes work in a torpedo calculator. And recently, right before I did this video and I was looking, they just posted up an energy weapon DPS calculator too, which I thought was cool. I actually haven't looked into it, but it looks new. It's gotten lots of upvotes. So I'm like, well, it's probably decent as well. On the STO builds Reddit or subreddit, whatever you want to call it, there's a lot of good stuff there. There's not as many posts as you would, I guess, maybe expect in that community, but I mean, there's a lot of good stuff there. There's also a lot of trolls on both those subreddits. So, I mean, there's always going to be angry people that don't like things that you say. Just gotta be strong with how you view the world, view the game, and just go with it. So yeah, when it comes to my favorite tanks inside of this game, as I've said before in different videos, there's kind of a general spectrum of how tanking is. Darkblade has explained it in better detail than me, so he's definitely a great resource for that. But to make it super simple, the three play styles of tanking is, the super survival based. Basically, I'm going to turtle down and just be invincible. That would be a Florian type build, in my opinion. Which is why a lot of y'all that are like, I have no idea what I want to do in my build, I generally reference you to Florian's build, especially when it comes to different traits and the skill tree, in particular to use. His build's extremely good still, and it was built prior, or at least early on, in a lot of the Endeavor system stuff that was going on when that was initially released inside the game. So it was a build that did not rely upon the Endeavor system to function properly, which, especially for a lot of you that are newer players to the game, that is important. A lot of the modern high-end DPS builds assume that you're a level 100 or 200 level Endeavor system player with a lot of extra damage and survival already built into your ship that you're naturally going to have. And so you're like, well, if I already have a lot of passive hull and shield regeneration and a lot of passive resistance already built into my ship from my Endeavor system, why would I invest more in that in the skill tree when I can just focus all that in damage anyway? I already have stuff like that. I think the skill tree does need to be revamped, but anyway. Florian is the person for survival-based tanking. That build's really nice for that. That link will be in the description. If you want someone in the middle of the road, in my opinion, Darkblade is a fantastic resource. He does stints of videos from time to time. He's not super consistent, which is fine. He puts out videos when he feels comfortable with it. Especially his previous video called Star Trek Online: The Tanking Spectrum is a almost criminally underviewed video. It's something I really would like a lot of you to go ahead and see. It's very well done. It's also a PowerPoint, so it's also something that I'm gonna like personally. Again, he's kind of like balanced in the middle of the road. Some of you that try to search him can't find it because his actual gaming name is Captain Blade J52 Gaming instead of Darkblade. Not fully sure why he chose that instead of Darkblade, but whatever. I mean, then again, my in-game names aren't necessarily CounterYolo for this game either. So if I use my gaming name and my channel title, things will be a little bit more confusing. Now, especially in the DPS scene, a lot of them want tanks to do lots of insane damage as well. And so if you're someone who wants to do a ton of damage but also be able to easily survive in a lot of the PvE content, Yawoski HG over on Twitch is probably the person you want to go ahead and check out. He does more than Star Trek Online, granted. Frankly, if you're wanting to actually make money in gaming, you can't just do Star Trek Online, so it makes sense why he's branched out to more than just STO. But when he does actually play the game, he typically does tanking. A little bit of science tanking as well as a little bit of actual just regular energy-based tanking. And his is very much DPS based, so he will do intel primary, strategist secondary for his specializations. A lot of his stuff is purely DPS, and he has a couple of consoles that enhance his passive healing and passive regeneration so that he can survive through the DPS of the enemies coming at him, so he can hold the threat and do lots and lots of damage. It's not how I play, but I can definitely respect it. It is a legitimate way to tank. It is a way that the DPS crowd wants tanks to tank. But in my opinion, there's more than one way to tank. The other ways are also legitimate, and they will keep the threat as well. Just my personal opinion on the matter. Any of those ways work. Links to all of them are in the description. Now, in terms of stuff that does more than STO or branched out from STO, first one on YouTube is Trekyards. They also have their own website as well. In my opinion, they are the best Star Trek show out there in general. For the most part, they are independent. I mean, they do have their own, brand deals and stuff, for reviewing different like ship models and things that various other companies will put out to make ends meet, because they have to. They are a business, that's their full-time job. Um, but because they're more independent than other Star Trek sites out there, they're able to give a very fair shakedown of everything old and new about Star Trek in general. The newest shows, new ship designs, new uniforms, whatever. They give a fairly good shakedown of all of that stuff. Um, and it's a really, really good show. That's why they have a lot of subscribers, because they're a really well done show. Now for Attack Pattern Tugs. In my opinion, they are the best Star Trek comic in existence, period. He releases the comics slowly, only like 1 page per week, which is different than, other people that do comics. They release a comic book a month or something. When the Star Trek Online Foundry went away and it was removed last year, I was honestly searching to try to find something to replace it, and this was my best solution, was Attack Parent Tugs. When I went into the Foundry, even though I like to make my own missions, what I enjoyed the most was going into someone else's story and doing exploration, doing negotiation, and getting different outcomes based upon how I chose to do things, and at least being able to vicariously see that occur in a different type of comic. We don't really see that in most other comics today. Most of them are super action heavy, or they have some sort of convoluted plot over everything. Star Trek doesn't need to be overly complicated. I mean, sure, you can have complicated subjects in terms of science fiction, as more of a plot device for whatever you want to talk about, but it doesn't need to be overly complex. And the themes can be. Attack Parent Tugs, I feel, gives a really great balance between all those different things. Now, when Tapper or Taper, whatever he calls himself, whatever he calls his name here, whatever Nick is doing here, all these characters were fairly basic to start out with, and he started to slowly flush them out, and they are insane characters now. And his current story, with Ace, is awesome. It is incredibly good writing, and that's why I support him on Patreon. Actually, one of the few people that I actually do. We have so few good comic writers out there that when they exist, I'm going to support them. But yeah, Tapper and Tugs, great comic to read. It was originally based in STO, but he's kind of branched beyond that, and he's kind of like made his own kind of like sub universe that branched off of the STO one. Strikeards is still a great one as well, and they're doing stuff every week as well. Here's a bunch of honorable mentions. Joe and Stowe is one of the few written blogs for STO currently. When the game came out, and a few years thereafter, there were a lot of blogs out there and fleet websites and things. The vast majority of them nowadays are pretty much out of date or just aren't updated like ever anymore, which is pretty sad, frankly. There is the DPS League, but again, there's not a ton of posts on there anymore. I'll also have a link to that in the description. I forgot to put it in this slide. Zeph Films is a good channel as well. His cinematic videos are awesome. Unfortunately, a lot of his other content, which he has on there to satisfy the YouTube algorithm, which ever since he's been doing that and linking stuff on Twitter and other places, his subscriber count has been going up ridiculously fast. So yeah, he's understood how the YouTube algorithm works, and it's catering to that. In my opinion, it has compromised how the premise of his channel was built originally, but I can definitely respect what he has done to cater to the new ways that YouTube has forced a lot of creators who want to make money to continue to make money on the platform. We also have STO Unrefined, who rebranded himself to a different name, which is almost unsearchable on the platform. I type that in and I can't find him. I type in STO Unrefined and I can find his channel. He did other things on the channel. His highest viewed videos pretty much are the ones dealing with vanity shields, or for the various new starships in the game. Kind of unfortunate. That's kind of all that he's really getting for higher view counts now. But you know, different channels evolve in their own different ways. Augie over on YouTube and Twitch as well. Pretty decent channel as well. I almost view him as kind of like a smaller version of Timberwolf, who views the game a little bit differently as well, which is fine. There's also Goss, one of the newer people on the scene as well. What's a kind way to put this? Basically, if you wanted to meet a mirror version of me, like if you want to meet me from like the mirror universe in Star Trek, Goss is a pretty good approximation of what I would be from the mirror universe. We fundamentally have opposite views of how the world and this game works and how it should be played, both for fun and for whatever. And so if you want a truly different way of viewing the game, his channel is a decent one to check out. If you like the way that I view it, that I view things, and you don't like all of the drama and stuff as much, you might not like his channel as much. Just giving you a fair warning. That's kind of what you're getting into with his channel. He has changed things a little bit over time, but anyway, number one, of course, is going to be Timberwolf. His YouTube channel ranges from A to A- in terms of his videos. His Twitch is unparalleled. Extremely likable guy that doesn't fully come across in his videos, but on Twitch it's fully there. Very open and honest, and extremely helpful. He has a fairly well-rounded understanding of how the game works, to the point that he can help people with basically any build in the game get through elite content just fine. And if you want to make your build better than that, he knows who to talk to give you the resources to do all that. More importantly, in my opinion, though, he doesn't try to copy other people. He does his own thing, which I think is really important, especially when you have a lot of people who do build videos and such, that a lot of them do basically the same thing for all their videos, and it gets really boring after a while. That's why a lot of those other YouTubers out there, I'm like, oh, they have a new video. Too bad, I'm not going to watch it, because that's probably the exact same thing, and it's just going to be slightly different numbers. Maybe it's a new console or something that's making this build X amount better than another one. Timbers is actually legitimately different from video to video, which is really, it's really refreshing to actually see and to experience that there is someone who is still trying to make their content different and unique, constantly trying to make it better. We don't really see that as much, which is sad. I mean, Zeph is obviously trying to do stuff too. A lot of that seems to more be on a cinematic front. Some of his other fillers doesn't seem as particularly stellar, but then again, I don't watch 100% of his videos. I don't watch 100% of Timber's videos, but I basically watch 100% of the replays of all of his stuff on Twitch. So I watch all of his content, just not always on the YouTube platform. Now, when I'm talking about doing your own thing, there's so many people that I've talked to in emails as well recently, before some stuff happened, obviously, recently. And people wanting to know, how can I build a channel super quickly? I'm like, well, what are you trying to build the channel for? Is your goal, just to make a lot of money? If that's the case, you shouldn't be doing Star Trek Online. You should be doing something else that's more popular. What's your purpose to making the channel? And honestly, in my opinion, the big thing should be, what are you bringing that's different than what everyone else has done on the platform? And in my opinion, these are the two big things that we don't have right now, which are, in my opinion, are pretty crucial for a lot of the commentary in the community. that would fill a lot of those gaps that we just don't have right now. The first one obviously is Space Barbie and Ground Barbie. A lot of people consider this the end game for Star Trek Online. Okay, for those that aren't going to be doing elite TFOs, this is the true end game. Here's the problem though. We don't really have good resources right now created inside the game to show you what's the cool stuff in the game. What starship bridges are the coolest to make you want to buy a certain starship? What's the weirdest costume glitches that you keep on seeing? What are the best places to do screenshots? What are the coolest vanity shields? They're great ways to preview vanity shields before you buy them off of the exchange. What weapon visuals look the coolest? Which weapons have weird sounds on them that might make it really annoying to use them? We don't really have that. I guess I'm kind of a little jealous because I play Star Wars: The Old Republic from time to time, and we have creators like Sortorista over there that does fantastic stuff on this front. And I mean, the most that we have over here is we have Audi, who does vanity shields for the newest ships, and we have STO Costumes, who granted does a lot of work to do what they do, but it's like, okay, here's the modern stuff for the current TV show. Here's how to make them inside the game. Okay, why don't we have a centralized website that is able to be searchable for all this stuff? It'd be cool if we had something like that, or it'd be cool if we had a YouTube channel that was dedicated to saying, hey, I'm going to show you all the Space Barbie in this game. Here's all the cool places for bridges, screenshots, the coolest looking starships, why certain starships are more desirable than others from a visual standpoint, and so on and so forth. There are a lot of starships that are highly neglected because their starship bridges are awesome, but people don't know. Other weapons are ignored because people don't realize, oh, that's a super cool looking weapon, but its stats are terrible. But a lot of people just look at stuff for the colors, and that weapon would be really sought after if people realize that's what it looked like and that's what its sound would actually be. There is definitely a market for it. I can guarantee you there is a market for this. But for some reason, no one's done it yet. Now, as for this other point on the right, the STO lore, for the most part, this is currently unfilled right now. I try to tackle this from time to time with some of my stuff from behind the scenes. Certain things keep on getting in the way. People keep on bringing stuff up to me when I talk with people behind the scenes on stuff, and they're like, well, did you think about X, Y, or Z? And I'm like, oh, crap, there just goes 3/4 of my premise for that idea. Okay, I'm going to have to rewrite this whole thing all over again. I keep on going. Oh, hey, there's a new episode. Oh, that just destroyed that idea. That just confirms that X and X Captain were not involved in the Temporal War at all. Well, that's wonderful. Okay, let's try to rewrite this again. There's some big things I've been trying to write, but obviously that's been put on delay with certain modern things going on. The closest we kind of have to this is a lot of our playthrough channels. The biggest one in the past was Justice Plays. He's rebranded his channel several times to Just Gaming for Us currently. He technically has over 20,000 subscribers, but if you look on Social Blade, for instance, it's a place that I look at a lot when I'm comparing my channel to other channels to see how they're doing. Right now, his channel and mine are getting about the same amount of views per month. Which, when you consider his channel is like 20,000 subscribers and mine's 3,000, that's a little disturbing. Not going to deny that is a little disturbing, considering that he has over 1,000 videos there, and he and I are getting the same amount of views. It is a little sad. For the most part, sort of certifiably in game has pretty much taken his spot in terms of realistic views, in terms of playthrough videos, in terms of Star Trek Online. He's done stuff pretty much every week, starting to play through the game. His content is decent. The editing's a little bit cringy for me personally, but it it exists. So yeah, that stuff is all there. If you want to get into the scene, those are my two general ideas of what you could easily do to make yourself known quickly inside of the community. There's obviously probably other ways as well, ways that I'm not thinking of. Maybe you actually see other YouTubers and you're like, okay, those are all dumb and stupid. I can actually make it better. Feel free to go for it. It's just gonna be harder to get into the scene unless you're realistically doing much better content. This is stuff that, regardless of pretty much the quality of the content, as long as the content is there, people are going to go ahead and watch your video. But yeah, anyway, that's pretty much the end of this video today. Normally I would say feel free to like and subscribe. That's not a priority right now. With all of our health concerns with the coronavirus around the world, the big thing is to stay safe and stay healthy. Wash your hands frequently. Don't intentionally come in close contact with lots of people and touch a bunch of stuff that you don't need to. There's lots of other things online too. I'm just kind of having some, yeah. I have lots of stuff with work that I'm thinking about right now. So I'm just gonna go ahead and close this now. Feel free to see the community tab if you want to get more details as to what's going on with me personally, IRL, and how that's going to affect the channel. But yeah, anyway, thank you all for watching. And yeah, stay safe during the next few weeks.